couple of people getting in touch regarding the traffic through along the A51 past Kelsall. We got, well, actually, Alex Staniforth, who's my guest this morning. You just cycled that way, so you can probably tell us...
I've not done anything.
Better than most. You haven't done anything, but you've seen it, haven't you? First of all, there's roadworks going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
By Tarvin Sands, and so what, temporary traffic lights there?
Temporary, yeah. Big kind of queue all the way up to start Chester Road and Kelsall.
Okay.
And the opposite way as well.
And there's been some ambulances seen in the area as well.
Yeah.
A couple of people have rung in about this as well.
Yeah.
So it's been some form of incident or accident up there, which is causing slow-moving traffic Chester-bound this morning. But you're here, and I'm very glad you're here. It would have been a shame if you'd have gone halfway around the world, and then you'd have been late coming from Kelsall to Chester.
Almost.
All roads point to Everest for you, I guess, and you've just come back from Nepal, and what an amazing month it sounds like you had over there.
Yeah, it was a great adventure, really. Very challenging at times. Lots of ups and downs. You know, wasn't all plain sailing. Amazing place, amazing culture, great people. As I said, very, very challenging at times. Unfortunately, we didn't make the summit of Baruntse or Merah Peak due to a host of problems with things, you know, the organisation, logistics, the conditions, illness, all sorts of things. I mean, it's one of those things. But still taught me an awful lot, and it was an amazing experience, really, yeah.
And so this was sort of a practice climb, if I can put it like that, sort of gearing you up. A training climb is perhaps a better phrase, gearing up for hopefully conquering Everest via the Southeast Ridge next spring. So that is still on, is it? That's still on target.
Yeah, it's on more than ever, really. I mean, it's spurred on now more than ever. And yeah, I mean, essentially, it was a 7,000 metre peak, which is pretty high. I could see Everest as well, which is quite an awesome experience for me as well, while I was there. And I did have the kind of that sort of thought of how am I going to climb that?
Yeah, I would imagine you did.
Yeah, but the beliefs, you know, it's always there as always. And yeah, I mean, essentially, it was perfect experience for me. I was doing lots of hard days out. I was doing lots of skills, you know, abseiling and dune-marring on cliffs and all sorts of things. And it was basically a very, very good kind of warm-up climb for me. Unfortunately, didn't reach the altitude I wanted. Got to about 6,600 metres, which is pretty serious altitude anyway, just short of 22,000 feet. Slept at 6,400 metres, which is the same height as Camp 2 and Everest, which is obviously good, and I slept fine there. Quite enjoyed a rehydrated chicken curry and rice at 2 in the morning.
Beautiful. Yeah, rehydrated chicken.
Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah, it was nice. No, it wasn't. But
it was something to eat and something warm.
Yeah, it was. It was very, very cold up there. I mean, that was one of the things that surprised me, was just how cold the place is. It's very nice in the days, yeah, even in the snow, it's really, really hot, but in the evenings it drops. I mean, if you have a mug of tea, it'll freeze within half an hour.
Really?
Yeah. If we had got to the top, it would have been probably -30 wind chill, which is almost as cold as Everest.
Yeah. So in the daytime, when the sun comes out, and you said it feels warm, does the temperature go above freezing, though? Is it a different sort of warm?
The air temperature is, yeah.
Is it? Right,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, there was actually a typhoon before, in the first week of the trip, and we were, at that point, we were on the trek in the forest, getting drenched and covered in leeches and all sorts of things, 'cause it was just hammering down with rain. And at the same time, all the high mountains were being covered in snow, which made it really, really hard work, because, you know, there was paths which should have been rock, and we were in sort of 2-3 foot of snow. And made it really, really hard work, and you know, there's avalanches, and there was even climbers killed on Baruntse because the snow was just that deep.
Well, we'll come back to that in a sec. So you went to Nepal, you were there for 35 days, so you took on Merah Peak and Baruntse, but also tell us about this sort of walk when you were getting covered with leeches and so on.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was fun.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
Top of my list of things to do.
I felt like Bear Grylls. I mean, the trekking was about 3 weeks to... Well, that was 2 weeks to Merah Peak base camp. We tried to do that in 2 days rather than 3, because we missed a day flying into Lukla. And the walk basically went in every corner of Nepal, from big valleys to forests, and it was easy going. I mean, it was quite sweaty. It was, quite a humid place, but easy enough. And then we walked, obviously, then to the base camp, and then tried Merah Peak, came down, went to base camp, then obviously went to the next base camp, which is 5,400 metres, which is alone 600 metres higher than the top of Mont Blanc. And then obviously that was on Baruntse. But on the walk in, it was very, very kind of chilled out, and we just went to every tea house and every forest in Nepal. It was mad.
What's Nepal like?
Very nice culture, actually, nice people. They work very hard. Very poor place. They made nice tea and cake. That came in handy. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice place, very, very wild, very kind of beautiful and calm and chilled out. It's very nice.
I'm just trying to picture where it is on the map of the world now. It's sort of
on the border near India and Tibet.
Right. Okay. So that's sort of the top end of India, isn't it?
Yeah. Top. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
the north end of India, I should say.
It was. Yeah. We got there in style because we couldn't fly from Kathmandu because of the weather, so we had to pay for a helicopter, which they can fly, whereas planes can't because of the visibility.
Yeah.
And ended up boarding a 40-year-old ex-army Russian helicopter.
Okay. How safe did you not feel in that?
Well, I felt even worse when it was piloted by Russians. By Russia's kind of sidekick of Boris Johnson, looked just like him in a t-shirt. But yeah, that was an adventure, and I've got a kind of a quite bad fear of flying, so it wasn't the best for me. But after that, it was very, very chill for pretty much 4 weeks, and it was pretty much out in the pretty much out there. We didn't have internet or power for 3 weeks, and eating all sorts of things.
And of course, this is all training for your conquering of Everest next year. We'll talk a bit more about Baruntse and some of the adventures you had on that mountain in a few minutes' time. It's Alex Staniforth with me this morning. 18 years old he is. He lives in Kelsall, and, well, he's going to go up Everest next year, and he's just come back from Nepal, trying to conquer Baruntse and Mira Peak as part of the training for the southeast ridge of Everest, which looms in the spring of 2014. Street Preachers, an anthem for a lost cause. I'm with young explorer, adventurer Alex Staniforth, 18 years from Kelsall, who was telling us before that song about flying in a 40-year-old Russian helicopter with how many people in it?
20.
Into the world's most dangerous airport. You've told me what that song was playing, Lukla Airport.
Yeah, it's rated as that,
Yeah, because of the geography and the fact that it's sort of a very poor country and it's in the middle of nowhere, so backup's pretty poor.
To be honest, it's that steep, I would be nervous going down on my bike. It's mad, yeah.
And you don't like flying, but you've definitely conquered your fear of flying now, dealing with all that.
All I've got is Everest to conquer now.
Yeah, well, Everest, of course, is the big one, and that's what this expedition to Nepal was all about. Mira Peak and Baruntse were the two mountains that you attempted. Unfortunately, you didn't get to top either of them, but you did go a long way up.
I battled on. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Basically, Mira Peak, we tried to go up in 2 days rather than 3, just to try and catch up the time that we missed on the flight.
So you overstretched yourselves, really?
We went up a bit too fast for a day. I mean, I was quite ill. I won't put people off the breakfast, but I knew the guys, they were equally as bad. And then by sort of 2 in the morning, we got to the high camp, which is 5,700. That was very exposed, and I was absolutely spent. We set off at early in the morning in the dark, and they sort of said, I'm not up for this. I mean, I'm absolutely trashed, and I was kind of forced on a little bit. There's a guy in my team who was formerly he was an SAS. He trained with the SAS, and now he's working as a bodyguard in the British Embassy. So he's a hard as nails guy, and he stayed in his tent. He didn't even leave. So that sort of shows how shattered we all were.
You got further than him.
Well, he didn't try, but that was probably the kind of best option. I mean, I should have really stayed put. I wasn't in any state. I tried anyway. Got to about 6,000 metres, and then turned around. However, every team that day didn't reach the top because of the high winds. So even if I felt fine, we probably wouldn't have made it.
So with his experience, he realised the best thing to do was none of you were in the right shape. The best thing to do was stay where you are and go down.
Probably, yeah. I presume so. And so obviously that was a massive knock. I was quite seriously ill.
So what sort of talk about this illness? Is it just exhaustion? Is it